After weeks of speculation, reports that Andretti could be set to take over Alfa Romeo Sauber ramped up over the weekend of the Turkish Grand Prix. And should that deal go through, it's believed they want to bring Indycar starlet Colton Herta with them. So how has this deal come about, and is it really likely to happen? This move looks set to come about through a combination of mutual interests. Formula One have long wanted an increased American presence on the grid, especially since Liberty Media took over the commercial rights, and Michael Andretti has admitted to wanting to enter Formula One with a team in the past. Andretti already have operations set up for multiple disciplines of motorsport, including IndyCar, sports car and off-roading, with finances being the main stumbling block to a potential move into Formula One in the past. It's been reported that Andretti now has the investment and backing in place to make a takeover of Alfa Romeo possible, with one of their main IndyCar sponsors, financial firm Gainbridge, involved in the move. Formula One itself has become a more attractive investment in recent years, with the efforts made to lower costs and level out the competitive playing field. The new rules, set for 2022, are aimed at bringing the grid closer together and creating better racing, while the cost cap, introduced in 2021 and set to be taken a step further in 2022, has made it more financially viable to run a Formula One team. It's also far more cost effective to invest or take over an existing team, like De Rilton's takeover of Williams, as brand new teams are required to pay $200 million to enter the sport. Alfa Romeo Sauber, on the other hand, are an established team with the facilities already in place to compete in Formula One. And since taking over the commercial rights of the sport, Liberty Media have been pushing to increase the US's interest in Formula One, and there are now set to be 2 races stateside next year, with the Miami Grand Prix joining the Circuit of the Americas on the calendar. There have even been murmurs of a 3rd US race possibly being added in the future, maybe in Las Vegas. And Liberty have largely been successful in their attempts to increase stateside interest in Formula One, with ESPN reporting that viewing figures have been up around 50% versus the 2019 and 2020 seasons in 2021. This has also been helped by the Netflix series Drive to Survive, which has increased the exposure to the sport to many who weren't interested in it previously. Having an American team with a prestigious name like Andretti would seem like a sensible next step. The Andretti name, of course, has a long history in Formula One. Mario Andretti won the World Championship in 1978 with Lotus, and he took 12 race wins in his Formula One career. Michael had a less successful stint in Formula One, but the Andretti name is still synonymous with motorsport and recognisable across the world. It's also been high on Liberty's list to try and get an American driver on the grid, and it's thought that if this deal does go through, it could be Colton Herta that takes the 2nd seat in that team alongside Valtteri Bottas. Herta is a highly rated prospect in the States, having exploded onto the IndyCar scene with a win at the Circuit of the Americas in just his 3rd race, age 18, becoming the youngest winner in IndyCar history. He now has 6 wins to his name and has often been touted as the American driver with the most potential for a switch to Formula One. Herta himself has previously spoken about being interested in giving Formula One a chance should the opportunity arise, and it could be that this Andretti deal makes that highly possible. Herta signed a long-term contract with the Andretti stable earlier this year, making them the front runner for one of their F1 seats should this deal come off. It's been a while since an American-based driver has successfully made the jump to Formula One, with Juan Pablo Montoya the last to truly make an impact in the sport, but there's no denying that Herta is an exciting prospect. However, super license points could potentially be a barrier to him getting a seat for 2022. Drivers are required to have 40 super license points to be eligible for Formula One, with Herta currently only on 32, having finished just 5th in the 2021 IndyCar season. There may be some options for Herta to gain more points through F1 practice sessions or by doing another season in IndyCar. This would mean he'd be aiming at a Formula One seat for 2023, but I wonder if we could even see Liberty make a special dispensation for Herta to get their wish of an American driver on the grid. If Herta does have to wait for his chance, it could be that the door is back open at Alfa Romeo to Guanyou Zhou, Oscar Piastri, Théo Pourchaire, or even for Antonio Giovinazzi to stay for another season. It's unclear how long it will take for this deal to go through, or even if it will go through at all at this point, but it still would be an exciting time for Formula One to have the Andretti name back in the sport and to have a strong American presence on the grid. And personally, I think it would be fascinating to see if a young American driver like Colton Herta could cut it in Formula One, given the amount of potential he's shown in IndyCar. Let me know what you think of the potential Andretti takeover of Alfa Romeo in the comments, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe for more content from Formula Pulse.